You're live.
Let's see. Good Monday. Hope you can hear with this. Good Monday, December the 7th, 2020, 6 o'clock p.m. We're ready to start. December 7th. I'm sorry. 21st. I'm looking at the minutes. I just gave you 2 extra weeks to get Christmas done.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I was reading the minutes instead of the actual agenda. December the 21st, 2020 at 6 o'clock. This is our Finance Committee meeting along with other City Council members here. Again, just a quick review. Council can have a voice in the meeting, but only the committee members vote. And also with COVID-19 guidelines, we're close to the public. Kathy has us on YouTube right now. And also we ask everyone to try to keep their masks on, but to talk as clear as you can to help her to get that sound captured into the video. So we get ready to start. We'll call the meeting to order. And our first item is approval of minutes for December the 7th. Back to that, December the 7th, 2020. So we have any questions, comments, or corrections on the minutes for December 7th, 2020 at 6 o'clock? And again, thanks to Steve Arndt and the mayor for compiling these minutes. Any questions about the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the December 7th, 2020 finance meeting minutes.
So Jim Hughes has made the motion. We have a second.
second.
Connie Thompson is second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you. We'll go next to our invoices. And you see your total is $234,955.37. And if you scan through those, you notice, again, it's the usual utilities, plus our quarterly payment for our insurances for property, auto, and umbrella, and workers' comp, which those add up pretty fast. Also included that is our grant that we did for the sanitary board for their pay, and then P-cards. And also later tonight on our agenda will be the co-pays for One Beacon that's included in this invoice. So we'll start with Connie Thompson and work our way through our committee, see if there's any questions, and then we'll go to council members.
I have no questions.
Yes, Connie Thompson has no questions.
I don't know, like I said, we got $160-some-thousand in insurance, everything in for about 2 cars, and the least special club can't get it.
Okay with everything?
I'm good with everything.
Steve Martin, everything in order tonight? Yeah, we'll move to council members as well. Start Council Scipio. No question?
I'm good.
I didn't find anything.
Greg Wolf. Okay. Again, thank each department for getting everything turned in and working through that. So with that, $234,955.37. We have a motion to send this to full council for approval.
I make a motion to send to full council invoices to be paid in the amount of $234,955.37.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Connie Thompson. We have a second. Jim Hughes is second. Any final questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you all. And we come now to the clerk for our short budget, which is 5.5 months, sort of, because if you looked over your notes, it's halfway through December, through the 17th. But that includes, which would be in its own right 46%, but it includes all of the month of payroll. So more accurate is almost 50, because it would be a full 6 months. There's only a few things that are still going on with this. Because payroll, correct, Connie, that payroll's reflected in all these numbers since that was Friday.
I ran this on the 17th, Thursday,
Okay. So
but it probably got posted into this.
Okay. So somewhere in the 40, between 46 and 50%, right through there is where good numbers are, which we're all in line, except for one. And I'll let Connie go over anything first before we have any questions. Anything you need to share with us?
No, I just, like I said, I started just to print in November, and I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and include it all. So this says everything, all the invoices that's on our list tonight. So this is up to date as far as everything that's been paid.
Okay. And
So
so,
the checks cut, just waiting for y'all's approval before we mail them out.
On page 6 of 15, under council,
Yeah.
on commodities, we budgeted $300, and I'm sure it's a clerical error, but it shows.
No, that's where I put the grant. We didn't know where
Okay,
to
for
put the
sewer,
grant
the
at.
sewer department grant.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's where we put it at this point. Until we had to put it somewhere until we find if there's actually a state code that we need to put it in. That's what that is.
Okay,
So we'll have to do a budget adjustment on that.
so again, for those of you,
But I was waiting to talk to the auditors and see if there's a number other than, didn't really know where to put it, so I thought, well, council, that's where we'll stick it for time being until.
It will stick out like a sore thumb here, as
Yeah,
opposed to being somewhere else, so it'll be remembered to be
Right.
relevant.
that's why, some of us saw it and were curious what that was.
yeah,
So whomever is on the next finance committee, again, obviously it will not be myself, and but whomever that is, make sure that on the first meeting in January, you take that up to get it. Once Connie, the clerk, has information from the state on where it should be, so that comes back into line. But everything else is pretty good on there. Any questions on the short budget from any committee member? Any questions from any council members? And Connie also has our statement of accounts from City National.
yes, the bank statement,
Yes.
well,
United Bank, sorry. Any
Yeah.
questions on that or any comments?
and then also, received our letter last week on our October CARES grant
Okay,
for 263, 154, 47 cents.
have we received that yet or just?
No.
Okay,
That's just the letter. We have not received it yet. Just saying that we will soon receive it.
now it appears, and nobody knows for sure what the details are in the new legislation that's waiting to be passed and signed, but it appears that December is the last month to be submitting claims, is that correct?
Yes,
Because at least the news is showing that further quote unquote CARES Act money was not in the new deal, but who knows until they actually pass it and sign it. So it could be new cars for people in there, who knows until it's done.
Yeah, the way the governor structured the money that came to the state, there was no money earmarked for, under the original CARES Act, for municipalities. But he carved that money out and set up a way to issue disbursements to the various municipalities and counties across the state. And I think it was a fairly substantial amount of money. I think it's a couple $100 million that he carved out to be able to give us these reimbursements. But it was not part of the original CARES Act. Now, some of the language is that there's going to be there's going to be an actual dedication for monies for municipality under the new CARES Act. When and if it gets approved, and how that's going to be dealt with, I don't know if anybody knows how that's going to be.
Like I said, the media, who knows, but the media said the trade-off was since individuals get $600 checks, they cut out the municipality part that they were in the negotiations. But who knows till it's signed.
But there again, that doesn't mean that the governor may not continue based on the money that comes to the state. He may continue with this program.
Any other questions for the clerk on the short budget or your United Bank account or the CARES Act relief money? Connie, anything else you have for us?
no, that's all.
Our next item is the second reading of ordinance 795. That is the 5-year franchise agreement with Altice, that we commonly refer to as Sublink. We had our first reading last meeting, passed, so I'm assuming everybody's comfortable with it again, but any questions about ordinance 795 before we do our second reading? Again, if we would affirm this into full council, then it would be a roll call vote there. Correct, Connie?
Yes,
Any other questions on ordinance 795? Hearing none, entertain a motion that we approve this and send it to full council.
I make a motion that we send to full council the second reading of ordinance 795, renewing a 5-year franchise agreement with Altice USA Suddenlink for cable services.
Connie Thompson has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Jim Hughes, second. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Thank you. New business. We've got approval of 2021 holiday calendar from the state of West Virginia. And again, that comes to us because it does involve paid holidays. But our tradition has been to use the state's calendar. So any questions about that? I know it's somewhat a formality, but any questions about the 2021 holiday calendar?
Yeah, I have a question. The calendar listed Christmas Eve, it didn't list Christmas. I know Christmas falls on Saturday, but it's still, it's a holiday, and if the holiday falls on a weekend, you take the day before.
Right, so the 24th
Is
is Christmas. That day will be off. Does that make sense?
Well, it doesn't
Christmas
list,
falls on Saturday, which employees don't, other than the police and fire.
what I'm saying is, it says the holiday falls on Saturday, it'll be observed the preceding Friday. Well, the holiday's not listed, Christmas is not listed.
But that's why you're getting paid for this as a holiday.
Did
Because you
Christmas
don't work
Eve.
on Saturday.
I guess I could have left the Eve off, but
No, I
it's,
thought it was just a copy of the state. Yeah, it's just.
well, it is, but then I already thought,
Okay, the reason being is they give Christmas Eve as a half a day,
Yeah, okay.
so they're making it a whole day. for-
and it's paid.
Okay. Wait, we're giving Christmas Eve this year. We're not giving Christmas because it's on Saturday.
Right.
Well, Christmas Eve is actually the Christmas holiday as far
Yes.
as payroll.
Are we doing the same for New Year's then?
That would be 22.
That's,
I mean,
yeah, that's
those are gonna
42.
have- It falls on Saturday too.
Well,
First.
Yeah, that probably should be on there too. December 29th will be a holiday.
31st.
First.
Yeah.
See, on
I'll
that,
next step on dates tonight.
on that one, it'll fall on,
Right,
that one will move back to Friday because it's
on a Saturday
on
too.
Saturday.
So
It's just a little confusing.
make sure you write in there December 31
7/31.
because.
But it will probably fall on, just like this, right now.
Yeah.
We had our last payday was last Friday for the year. We now starting on 2021.
You're gonna search this out, you don't believe this, do you?
Said you noticed January 1st is on
Don't believe what?
21.
Searching out of it.
It'll probably fall on
The
Saturday.
31st maybe. 31st may be on a separate, maybe on 22 payroll, but it would be observed though on December the 31st for New Year's. Just make that note.
Right.
Okay, with that note added to it on the 31st, any other questions or a motion to approve the 2021 holiday calendar?
I make a motion to approve the 2021 holiday calendar. It follows the state guidelines.
So we have a motion from Connie Thompson. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Jim Hughes is second. Any final questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. We have two, again, American Geotech, two bids for engineering, and essentially the difference is one has to do two sets of orders, the other is one. But you've looked at the addresses, and we'll go one by one on votes, but they're both Ward 4, Taylor Road is the first one, in front of two properties, and then Garnet Drive. I think everybody's familiar with that one, the very narrow situation there. And you see the 11,900 for the first, 7,400 for the second. And again, if you read over your proposal, the difference is just there's more sites involved in the Taylor Road site. So we'll start with just questions. We'll have to vote one by one, but since they're the same company, the same concept, and within a few blocks of each other, we can discuss both of them. If you have any questions for Hugh or the mayor, or Scott as presently Public Works on that, any questions for these?
It went through the street department.
Yes. Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Connie. Coming from your committee for street department with recommendation. Very Very thankful this is being done. It's something we've been needing for a long time. Poor Jim and myself took a beating in the last election over these issues, and so at least for the citizens, I'm glad it's getting done now. So, any questions? Hugh, anything about these? So that's just the engineering prep side.
You got to do some sampling to see what kind of bedrock we're looking at. If we're gonna have to drop pilings in, particularly the garnet, the Mark Road.
How far a drop is that from Garnet down to the bottom?
60 feet.
Okay. I know it's going to be.
Ball doesn't hurt, landing does.
It's the cheaper engineering, but when it comes to the real job, that's going to be the major
Well,
issue.
if, in reality, that whole bank through there is going to eventually cave in. One of the main questions that the mayor and I discussed yesterday, or the other day, one of the biggest issues I have, and I know I don't get a vote in any of this, but Steve, when your mom passes, what are y'all gonna do with that house?
I'm not sure. We haven't really.
Because if it was up to me, I would stop the road right there, and then I'd go up to that guy's garage and I'd stop the road right there, and I wouldn't fool with it.
I don't know. It'd really be valuing mom's property. I know that.
Well, I didn't know if she was giving it to the church or what she was doing with it, so I don't know.
There's nothing, I mean,
Or at the very most, if they do, like I said, I don't know what they're gonna do with the house, but even if they just routed the road into the parking lot. That's a lot of area to cover down along Marks Road for what you're gonna achieve out of it.
Normally, the procedure, what Hugh was saying would be the case, that if it's more cost effective to, and the property owner is willing, then the city would end up buying the house, instead of repairing the slide. So, I mean, there would be a trade-off. You either buy the house or fix the slide. So that would be something that you all can negotiate later on once you see what the cost is going to be. But if you look on up through there, the guardrail and the trees and stuff are already starting to lean out further up there, further on up the curve. And I think this will be just probably the first fix of several that you're going to see on that road. It may be 2 years, it may be 10 years, but at some point there's going to be another slip up here.
the slips on Hopeful, they've been like it for probably 20 years or more.
Yeah, if you get one good wet spring or one good wet winter and one piece of it breaks loose, it could be a mess.
But I think this is something that we wait until we get the reports and what it's going to take to do, and then you can sit down and decide how you're going to deal with it. The reality of it, it needs to be dealt with before it becomes catastrophic.
Any other questions? So we'll go one by one. Of course, hopefully you've read all that information. And we'll start with the Taylor Road. And again, this is American Geotech. The cost will be $11,900 for core drilling and final analysis and proposal. So do we have any questions, or do we have a motion to approve this first agreement with American Geotech for Taylor Road, which I think most of you are familiar with that. It's actually property on the other side is sliding down, but it's still the city's property you can't always control everybody else, but you got to fix the mess. So.
Okay, I make a motion to enter into an agreement with American Geotech to provide design services for the correction of Taylor Road slip in the amount of $11,900.
So a motion by Connie Thompson for this. We have a second.
I second that motion.
Jim Hughes seconds it. Any final questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Thank you. We'll move down to the Garnet Drive. Again, $7,400, the same company, and same procedures. It's just they don't have to do as many bore samples. It's the difference in the cost. Any final questions or motion to approve this one?
I make a motion to approve to enter into an agreement with American Geotech to provide the design services for the correction of the Garnet Drive slip in the amount of $7,400.
So we have a motion by Connie Thompson. We have a second.
I second that motion.
Jim Hughes second. Any final questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Thank you. Again, we're thankful to get some of these things, this started and some more houses torn down and properties trying to get sold now. Because we begged and worked on this for a long time. And so hopefully we'll keep going. We have now speed bumps on Chestnut Street. This was declined, correct, Connie? So you can tell me about that in your committee.
Yes, sir. We had a street committee meeting last Thursday. Upon the discussion with the street committee members, we have declined for it to come out of the street committee. We denied the speed bumps on Chestnut Street.
And so with that being declined or rejected by the street committee, then those who make a petition would need to consult with the street committee or try again, but it would not be voted on tonight since it was declined and rejected by the street committee.
What we talked about doing is put a couple of signs up, slow children playing, and reduce the speed limit down to about 5 miles an hour, and have more police patrol up there, just to let people see what's gonna happen. I mean, the street's only 200 yards long.
We'll move next to E, approval of payments, One Beacon. And again, you've had that to look at. We can't discuss the personal issues on it, but you've looked at it. And also it was already in the total invoice of $234,000, that amount. So any questions though about this within the guidelines of not disclosing information? Any questions about the co-pays? Again, our deductible is $25,000, is that correct, Mayor, on each case?
Yes, this is the old policy.
Yeah.
Any new case will be $50,000.
Any questions on this, the $5,477.22? Again, the amount was in the total already, but this is a separate item, so we need a motion to approve this payment.
I make a motion to approve the payment to Intact Insurance or One Beacon in the amount of $5,477.22 for the deductible on 5 lawsuits.
So Connie Thompson's made our motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Jim Hughes is second. Any final questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed, no. Thank you. And we get down to F, the fire department, 581, that's the white one-ton truck, or 450. Okay. You've read over, hopefully you've read over your info on that. There is one adjustment. That information given, the $3,179.59 includes tax. So if you drop the tax off of that, you're at $2,999.61. So just a few pennies under $3,000. And you can ask Deputy Chief Berger any questions. You can see it. It gives a very clear breakdown of all the information there. Coolant reserve, your oil cooler, all those things. Any questions for the Deputy Chief? Hearing none, then entertain a motion to approve these repairs to Fire Rescue 581 and $2,999.61.
I make a motion to approve the repairs to Fire Rescue 581 in the amount of $2,999.61 by Charleston Police Services.
So we have a motion by Connie Thompson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Jim Hughes seconds. Any final questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Thank you all. And so we'll take time now for the mayor. We'll go through first, and if any other council members have any financial questions or information for the city. So we'll start with the mayor.
I'm just totally confused. I've been counting bags and turkeys and hams last week, and I don't think I can count any more beans. I'm pretty well cooked.
Wah, wah, wah.
It was like trying to count ducks. I mean,
Wah, wah, wah.
You don't want to go to prison for getting one too many turkeys.
It's been a lot of fun. I guess the department heads can speak up here a little bit, but there was a lot of smiling faces in the city this year. I mean, it's been a hard year, and I think they really appreciated being shown the appreciation for what they've done. But no other great revelations. It's been extremely quiet and calm, and wrestling with one or two problems.
We've got 9 more days to count beans. Any other financial questions? questions or information from any department head or any other council member for the city?
I got one comment I'd like to make, on these speed bumps. You know, I've served 2 terms and it's a very passionate issue. People want them. And if people, and I know the city's, my 2 terms here, the city's position is we don't want to put them in because it tears up the street, the scraper, the snow plows and stuff like that. I'd like to see us come up with some kind of a general policy that, something maybe that says, it's a general policy of the city, we do not put speed bumps in unless there's special circumstances involved or something. And Mike made mention, and I agree with you. I don't mind if they go in alleys, but, not on the streets. But I don't know if we can do that or not, but I'd sure like to see it, because it keeps coming up. It comes up every, once a year or so, somebody, and there's a ton of people sign this thing, and it's hard to turn down almost everybody on that street, but, I think we need to come up with something, some kind of general policy that we're not gonna do it because it tears our equipment up. And maybe give them an alternative to put in, you're not getting your street clean.
That's what I said.
I don't know what it is, but it's something.
Well, I think another issue too is that, and maybe Deputy Chief Berger can address this, it's extremely hard on the fire engine when it's full of water to go over one of those bumps. I mean, you have to almost come to a complete stop. So I mean, so you're really restricting their ability to respond and get there. And we've already replaced springs on what, 2 or 3 this year?
I know of 2 for sure.
Yeah,
We're just done within the last couple of weeks.
2 engines this year. So, you know, it is just normal wear and tear, but if we start putting a bunch of speed bumps out there, it's gonna wreak havoc on the heavy equipment. I mean, the garbage trucks are the same way. I mean, it's gonna, you know, those things got several tons of garbage in the back of them, and you're putting a lot of load on the suspension, you know, going over these things. So.
I'm not sure how they come up with them on the Marks Road and on Pine Street, but I know they're up there, but, I just think we need to be consistent and have a general policy. We're not putting them in unless it's just very special circumstance on that.
And I'm assuming the code's still there, but there was a state code that said you will not put obstructions in a public right of way. Meaning you're not supposed to put speed bumps on the road.
There's one pastor been there for years. I don't know how they got.
I don't know. They're nice ones, but
People up there, maybe
so they made it. I don't know.
Yeah, city put those up.
Did it?
Don't even know.
Why would they need them on Chestnut? Like I said, it's 200 yards long, and it's so windy and close you can't speed on it.
Before the signatures.
Well, one of them does. It says Garnet Drive. His front of his property's on Garnet, but the side of it's on Chestnut. Yeah. Anyway, that's just my comment.
You know, the conversation that I had with the person that spearheaded it is there's, I guess, people that have a lot of kids that are moving in up there and they're playing in the street, and there's people that are driving recklessly, which is obviously their neighbors, because once you go down Chestnut Street, the only thing you're gonna do is go to the end, turn around and come back, and you're not going anywhere. You're just going home or from home somewhere else. So it's got to be their neighbors are the ones that are, you know, the guilty parties.
Well, if you post it at 15 miles an hour and put up children at play signs, that lays all the liability on the driver, 100%. If they strike somebody, they were forewarned, and they know the speed, and they know to be on the lookout. So, I mean, and it's legal to do that, so.
Any final things I see?
Yeah, that's all okay. Just a comment.
We'll take just a couple minutes. We got plenty of time. This is our last finance meeting for this calendar year, this administration. And I'm sure the mayor and Connie and myself will say goodbyes in general and the full council, but for this, for any final comments from anybody from this committee or council about finance before we start wrapping up. I'll just say that I appreciate a couple things. One, in 2017, I guess is when it was, when then Mayor Greenlee asked me to lead this committee. I appreciate it, and same for Mayor Cunningham leaving me in the position. I've thoroughly enjoyed it the last 3.5 years, and I've tried to be as hardworking as possible and open to the citizens. Thank you, department heads, all of you, for working with me and this committee. I know sometimes I could be a pain in your hind end, because my goal was always to know every single detail of every single invoice. But thank you. And in turn, even though I could be a pain, I know you all knew that I was not rude about it. I was just trying to make sure we had everything right every time. Thank you, clerk, in your office as well, because some of your employees at times were frustrated with me when I'd ask for numerous different things, but just always trying to be on top of everything I could. So I appreciate the opportunity to serve the city in this capacity for the last 3 years, and wish well of whomever, Scott, that you choose to head this up the next 4 years. I also want to thank Connie Thompson. Whenever she was the one who served this before me, and Connie was so gracious, I asked her to meet with me. We met down in the old senior center for a couple hours one evening as she went over everything to give me guidance on this committee. So thank you, Connie, for that. And I'm sure, I think it goes all the way back to Mike when he did the same to you.
Mike was angry. I learned everything I know from Mike.
The truth came out.
Rocky Balboa.
But take that time to say that it has been my honor to serve the city in this capacity, and to try to do everything and to work with the mayor, which I think he's done an excellent job to help us keep our dollars in line. And again, to those of you that I had to always be asking questions, thank you for your patience with me, because I am a question asker. That gets me in trouble at times, but that's who I am. So thank you all. Anybody else?
Before you wrap this up, I got something. The tree contract we awarded for Connie Street, they're on 8th Street. They withdrew their bid. His wife had submitted it, he hadn't viewed it, he found out what it was and called me and withdrew it. So we can either award him the bid at the higher price, or we can award it to Joe, who bid $1,100, or we can start all over.
I would recommend going to the low bidder. Now that he's seen the second bidder's price, I would give it to the second bidder instead of.
That'd be a competitive disadvantage to everybody else now that he knows it.
He could make it $5 less than the other guy, and I'd say, if you mess up your bid, you throw it away and go to the second bidder. That would be my recommendation.
I just don't want Connie calling me next month. Why?
They might block me, but you could change.
So, I'm just speaking for me, but I have no capacity to Scott. That'd probably be good to have on the agenda for the next time to start on that, to clarify that. We really don't have a legal right to solve it tonight because it wasn't on the agenda.
I don't even
Thank
think
you.
I don't think it even has to really go on the
Okay.
agenda.
As long as it goes to the next.
Well, it says-
It's less than $1,500.
Okay.
And it's already been, work's already been approved, so I'm just go ahead and get on with it.
I mean, there is one dead limb hanging in the
Yes.
tree.
Yeah.
So,
That's about, take it around.
I don't know how big it is, but there is one dead limb hanging.
This one goes across the alley and pops somebody's apartment. Well, it is a liability on us.
It's a good snowstorm for being a problem.
And not to the empty lot, but to other people.
Anything else finance related to the city of Dunbar? Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion, second. Thank you.